Hey, I am glad to see you. Well, actually, I don't get to see you, do you? Do I? No. I wish I could get to see you, though. But we're going to continue with our lessons for Children's Church. And I want you to try to remember what we talked about the last time. All right, so the last time, if you'll remember, we had old bad King Ahab and his terrible wife Jezebel. And they are leading Israel. That's the king of Israel. And they worship Baal. They do not worship the one true God. How many gods are there? One. There is only one true God. And they do not worship the true God. They worship a false god, an idol. So God sends Elijah to go and talk to them about this. Because remember, they've been withholding the rain for like 3 years. And Elijah says, okay, we'll have a challenge, and I'm going to challenge the prophets of Baal at Mount Carmel. And the God who shows up, that is going to be the one true God. So they go to Mount Carmel, and you remember the prophets of Baal, they built their altar, and then they prayed to Baal, and nothing happened. And Elijah tells them, you better pray louder. So they pray louder, and they're dancing around, and then they start beating on themselves and hurting themselves, and he says, he's not listening. Maybe he's taking a nap. Maybe he's in the restroom, going to the bathroom. And he starts kind of tease them a little bit, but nothing ever happens. No fire comes down because they didn't light it. If you'll remember, we made this last time, okay? So Elijah built his altar, put his wood on, and then he put water, dug a trench around it, put water all around it, put water all over it, and then he prayed to the one true God. A fire came out of heaven and burned up the sacrifice, the wood, the water, and the altar. Burned it all up. And then people were like, that was the true God. It is the true God. Now then, so we'll move into this week. Ahab goes, Jezebel wasn't there watching this, but Ahab goes and he tells bad Jezebel what has happened to her prophets of Baal. And she is angry. She is so angry. She is angry at Elijah. She is so angry with Elijah that she is chasing him down. Matter of fact, in my Bible, in 1 Kings 19, it said Jezebel sent a message to Elijah saying, I am going to hunt you down by the end of tomorrow. And so she was after him. And Elijah got scared. He was scared because Jezebel's pretty scary. Elijah got scared and he took off running. And he ran. And he ran and he finally came to rest under a tree. And he's sitting there under the tree and he tells God, God goes, what are you doing here? And he says, Lord, just go ahead and take me on into heaven now, because she is after me and I have been very faithful to you. Just go ahead and take me on into heaven now. And the Lord was there, and Elijah went to sleep. He took a nap under this tree, and then he felt a tap. And when he awoke, there was bread, and there was water, and there was an angel. So there was an angel there that was taking care of Elijah, getting him food, getting him water, just like God had taken care of Elijah when he was hiding from Jezebel and Ahab before, and the ravens came and fed him, and he stayed by the brook. This time an angel came and fed him. And so he ate, and then he went to sleep again, and he woke back up, and there was more bread, and there was more water, and he told him that he needed to strengthen himself. So Elijah eats, and then he travels to a place called Horeb, which is a mountain of God, is what my Bible says. He came to a cave, and he's in the cave, And God said to him again, "What are you doing here, Elijah?" And Elijah goes, "I've worked very hard for you, God, the God of hosts. I've worked for the sons of Israel. I have worked to keep your words and your commands. And those Israelites, they have forsaken your covenant. They have built idols. They have worshiped idols. They have broken your covenant with you. And I am being sought to be killed. Most of your prophets have already been killed, and now they are after to kill me. They want my life too." So God told him, he said, "I want you to go, and I want you to stand on the mountain before the Lord," and the Lord was going to pass by. Okay, so Elijah goes, and he's standing on the mountain, and the Lord's going to pass by. He's standing there at the edge of the cave. First, when we have had tornado warnings and sirens going off, it's a great wind. There was a great wind outside, a very great wind. But you know what? God was not in that great wind. And then, the ground shook and the rocks tumbled and rolled away because there was an earthquake. And God was not in that earthquake. Next came a fire. There was a fire, was burning things up. A fire, a huge flame. But God was not in that flame. Nope, he was not in the strong wind. God was not in the earthquake. God was not in the fire. He was not in those powerful things. But then Elijah heard a soft, gentle breeze. Have you ever gone to a dandelion to make the things fly away? There was a soft, gentle breeze, and guess what? Elijah went, "There's God." God was speaking to him in the soft, gentle breeze. And it came out when he heard this, he covered his face. He covered his face up. And he went out and he stood at the entrance of the cave. And a voice came. It was a voice from God. He said, "Elijah, what are you doing here?" And Elijah said, "I've worked very hard for you, Lord. I've worked very hard for you. And they have broken your covenant and torn down your altars, and they have built their own altars. And I am alone left, and they're trying to take my life." You see, Elijah was worried, and he was a little bit scared, even though he knew that God was with him and God would take care of him. And God said, "I want you to go, and I want you to go by, and I want you to find Elisha. And then I want you to anoint Elisha as a prophet that will take your place one day, who will be your friend and that will work with you." So sure enough, Elijah leaves off the mountain, and as he's traveling, he went and he found Elisha just where God told him would be, and he was plowing his garden. He was plowing. He had some ox, and they were plowing the garden. And Elijah says, "Come, I want you to come with me." And Elisha says, "Let me kiss my mother and father goodbye, and I will follow you." And so now he has a partner, a friend, Elijah. So in the next lesson, we'll talk about Elijah and Elisha. All right, now then, you can wiggle for just a minute while Mr. Billy gets the camera turned around so that he can do our movie for today, and then we're going to have a song for today. Mr. Billy, we forgot to do our Bible verse song, and we forgot to do our prayer. Oh, my goodness gracious. We'll have to do it in a minute, won't we? Okay. Now we're going to watch this, and it's called Elijah Runs from Jezebel. He's running because he's scared. But he should know God never is going to leave him, and he's going to take care of him.
Elijah was a prophet. He knew that God was powerful. God had shown King Ahab and all the people that he is the one true God. King Ahab told his wife Jezebel what had happened at Mount Carmel, and Jezebel was angry. She sent a message to tell Elijah that she planned to kill him. Elijah ran far away into the wilderness where Jezebel could not find him. He prayed to God, "Lord, I've had enough. Take my life." Then Elijah lay down under a broom tree and fell asleep. God sent an angel to help Elijah. The angel touched Elijah and said, "Get up and eat." Elijah got up and saw a loaf of baked bread and a jar of water. He ate and drank and lay down again. A second time, the angel came and touched Elijah. "Get up and eat," the angel said. "This journey will be hard." Elijah ate and drank. The food gave him strength to travel 40 days and 40 nights to Horeb, the mountain of God. When Elijah got to the mountain, he spent the night in a cave. The word of the Lord came to Elijah. God said, "What are you doing here, Elijah?" "Lord, I've done my best to obey you," Elijah replied. "But your people have not obeyed you. They are trying to kill me." "Go out and stand on the mountain," God said. A strong wind rushed by the mountain, but the Lord was not in the wind. After the wind, there was an earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. After the earthquake, there was a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire, there was a voice, a soft whisper. Elijah hid his face and stood at the opening of the cave. "What are you doing here, Elijah?" a voice asked again. "Lord, I've done my best to obey you," Elijah replied. "But your people have not obeyed you. They are trying to kill me." The Lord told Elijah to anoint 3 men as leaders. Hazael would be king in the land of Aram. Jehu would be king in the land of Israel. And Elisha would be a prophet after Elijah. Elijah obeyed God. He found Elisha plowing a field, and Elisha left his work to follow Elijah and serve him. As a prophet of God, Elijah faced enemies who wanted to hurt him. Elijah's life points forward to Jesus, the greatest prophet, who was hated and killed for sharing and teaching God's word.
All right, ready for our song? You should know this one by now.
He is God, the one true God. There's no doubt. I'm gonna shout it out. He is King, the one true King. There's no doubt. I'm gonna shout it out.
hope you sang along with it. Okay, he is God, the one true God. Which reminds me, I'm going to ask you a catechism question. Okay, how many gods are there? There's only one true God. Okay, now then, we talk about in our first few catechism, how can you glorify God? Anybody remember that one? By loving him and doing what he commands. So is Elijah glorifying God by being faithful and doing what God commands? Yes. Are Ahab and Jezebel glorifying God by worshiping an idol? No, they are not. Okay, what is the first commandment? You shall have no other gods before me. And what does that first commandment teach you? To worship the true God and him only. Are Ahab and Jezebel following that commandment? No. Is Elijah following that commandment? Yes, he is. What is the second commandment? You shall not make a carved image. You shall not bow down to them or serve them. No idols. Are Ahab and Jezebel following the second commandment? No, they are not. What about Elijah? Yes, he worships the one true God. All right, now then, we're going to do our Bible verse song. All right, Mr. Billy, you going to sing with me? Okay, good. All right, here we go. Do not turn to idols, do not turn to idols, or make yourself a god, or make yourself a god. I am the Lord your God, I am the Lord your God. Leviticus 19:4, Leviticus 19:4. Okay, now then, you should have gotten an envelope, a brown envelope. And in the brown envelope has everything you need except some crayons. If you need to press pause and get some crayons, you can. All right. Now then, in there you're going to see your bulletin. Okay. There's a bulletin. Okay. Yep. All right. Now then, in there is also a coloring page. You can color this one later, and here's the angel of the Lord taking care of Elijah. Okay, I'm trying not to get Elijah and Elisha mixed up. I'm trying real hard. Okay, there's also a circle and another one. Okay, now then, we're going to take this circle. Let's get this circle right here. Okay, and I want you to start where you see the wind going, the one that looks like this, and it's going. Because that is like the big wind. The big wind is blowing. I know. Well, let's color our cloud. I'm going to color mine a blue. Ooh, I should color it a blue-gray because it's probably an angry cloud because it's blowing hard and it's blowing really hard. So I'm coloring that. And let's see, I can make it kind of a gray cloud. Okay, when y'all come back to Children's Church, remind me if I didn't already do it. I need to get some new crayons, and I'm going to show you why in just a second. All right, so I've colored my cloud. Okay, him. Now we're going to color our earthquake. There's not really much to color on the earthquake. I'm just going to put a little, like, dirt around it so it looks like it's at the ground. So I've got my brown crayon. Okay. I'm coloring around my earthquake. Ooh, it makes everything rumble and tumble. So now I've got my earthquake. Was the Lord in the big wind? No. Was the Lord in the earthquake? No. Next we're going to color our fire. Ooh, fire. So I've got, there's because you know I have a lot of oranges in here. I need a new box of crayons. Okay, here's my orange. And I'm going to use a yellow. I can find a yellow. And let's see, I'm going to use some red if I can actually. Oh, look, I do have a red. Okay, find a red. Well, it's violet red. That's kind of pretty to be on a fire. Doesn't look really red. It looks kind of like a pink fire. Okay, so here's my fire. Was God in the fire? No, he was not. And what came next? Ooh, the gentle breeze. So I'm going to do me a light blue. Ooh, real light blue because, it's a gentle, happy cloud with a just whispering for us. Okay. You know, there's a Bible verse that says, "Be still and know I am God." Sometimes we can't hear the quiet things when we're not still. And since we've been stuck at home a lot, do you know I go out on the front porch instead because it's kind of quiet, except for there's like birds everywhere. There's a breeze and it rustles in the leaves. And there's birds. There's these red birds that come around and blue birds that come around. And then there's people out walking and out riding their bike. But it's very peaceful. The sun can shine on my face. And I can sit there and I can pray and I can talk to God. And it's kind of calm and peaceful because we can't hear things when it's really loud. We can't hear God sometimes when everything is rumbling and tumbling and loud all around us. Because God, it tells us in our little thing right here that, but the Lord was not in the wind, but the Lord was not in the earthquake, the Lord was not in the fire, but after the fire came a gentle whisper, and the Lord was in a gentle whisper. So sometimes we just need to be still and know that He is God, okay? And when we get still, maybe we can pay attention. All right. Now then, the other one is like this. And I went ahead and started coloring mine because this is a lot of coloring and we probably won't take the time to see if we can, so that we can finish this one. We'll just do a little bit. But over here you see Elijah. So this is Elijah. He's on his mountain right here. All right. I'm going to go ahead and Miss Amy was sweet and poked a hole in this for us. So I'm going to poke my paper fastener that you should have. It might have fallen down in your bag. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to poke it right there. Can you tell how long this has been? No? Okay. And then I'm going to poke it through here. And I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to spread out my sides. So I don't know if you can see. It kind of looks like that. Okay. So this is our wheel. And let's see. I'm going to get it turned around so it starts with the big wind. All right. So when you talk to your parents about what you did today, and you can say, well, Elijah was on the mountain and the Lord was going to pass by. And there was a big wind, okay? And the Lord was not in the big wind, okay? And then came, an earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. And then came the fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And then came the gentle breeze, but the Lord was in the gentle breeze. And that's when Elijah heard the Lord. And the Lord, he went out of the cave, and right there on that mountain, the Lord said, Elijah, why are you here? And Elijah's like, I'm scared, I'm tired. I've been working hard for you, Lord, and now they're after me. And the Lord sent him to go find Elisha to be his companion and his friend and to help him out. All right, we're going to say our prayer. Everybody ready? 1, 2, 3. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Forgive us this day our debts as we forgive our debtors, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. Okay. Do you know what? When that camera's on, it makes me scared that I'm going to forget stuff. You know, like the Lord's Prayer that we say every time. All right. Now then, remember to tell your parents about your story. And our next one's going to be, Elijah and Elisha. And there are going to be horses of fire in the next lesson. That'll be fun. All right. Y'all be good. Love y'all. And take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.